Right, so quick trade recap, right? You're gonna see, right? It's a little bit frustrating, but you're gonna see why I've wrote this down, right? Because this was originally after my first trade. Okay, so we'll run through it. Bias was a continuation of sells for today. Okay, now obviously we've got these draws below. Now, if you just go to the hourly time frame, you'll see what I'm talking about. So we're obviously bearish. Okay, we're breaking structures to the downside, breaking structure. Now, here, where this wick is, we don't break hourly structure. This is a 6 a.m. candle. So we wick that to the downside. Now, I had entered sells on the 7-hour open. So where's the 7-hour open? Here. And prices was starting to run up. Now, I had in mind this gap here. Now, at this moment in time, I hadn't really thought about this wick. And thought, oh yeah, prices traded lower, retracing and a continuation. But I think with this not being a break, it signals more that price will then take out its high, as this high hasn't produced technically a lower low. It's not closed below this low. It's just wicked past it. So I'm seeing this as a good target for price to come to, and then maybe continuation down, which is Asia highs. But in the moment, I've just not really. I've just seen the wick. I've seen it as a lower low. We've retraced up 5 minute gap. I'm looking for sells. Tap it, reject away, and then I've entered. Now I've watched this in real time. Now, real time, I thought I had actually been stopped out. Now it turns out my SL must have been somewhere else higher, like maybe even up here. But I had jumped on MetaTrader, seeing I was like not stopped out. I was like, oh, let me just close out because when I checked over charts, I realized, oh, maybe that's not so good of a setup. I might have been a bit too quick to enter, so 740 really. And so yeah, it's all second guess. I was like, I don't know about that actually anymore. So I closed out. I had a slight loss. Now this trade actually plays out, and I was annoyed because if we literally touch on yesterday, I talk about the same things. We're not closing out trades, being comfortable with letting them run, that sort of stuff. Improving my trade management, and this ties into trade management, but also I do feel that this judgment here is valid, right? The fact that this hasn't closed below this low does signal that price could potentially have this as its target, and obviously we get this big bullish rally, which I've only just seen as I've hopped on now. But yeah, I was pissed. I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, why has that happened? I then have bearish buyers still. And so we break here, we've retraced towards the break line. We're in high time frame like gaps. As you can see, the 15-minute time frame. We're in this area, and we get a reaction away, and I entered this and it gets stopped. That's basically what happened. So I was like, okay. And I'm actually not too bothered. Right, I'm actually not connected to the outcome of the trade, but more the performance and how I handle the trade. Now with this, I actually believe this was kind of lucky. Maybe thinking now, is price really, so we're at 6 a.m. Is price really going to come all the way back up here and then come all the way down? It's not even that far of a gap. I mean, where's the measure tool? How big is this range? Like, it is not that big of a range. It's not that big of a range. So I can understand why I thought price could come up and take out Asia highs before continuing lower, and that's what I had in the back of my mind. But I think the best way to deal with this is going forward, right? Because I think this will make me more careful with my entries and more careful with my analysis, because I'm starting to use a low, like the 1 minute chart. I'm trying to end up quick, and it can make me miss gaps. It can allow me to miss gaps in the higher time frame. Like I just flick through it, right? Okay, that's where price is trending lower, but yeah, it just sort of slipped under the radar, really, I guess. But to make me more precise and more careful with my entries, a rule I would like to implement is if I enter a trade, I can't close it. Which is going to be tough, really. As in, like, if I enter a trade, I don't think it's gonna hit TP. I'm gonna have to hit SL. But obviously today, it played out. I think that was a little bit of luck. I also noticed as well, a lot of my trades spend hella time in drawdown. Like, basically spend like hours in drawdown. Like, but that's besides the point. That's besides the point. I think my bias for this morning was right. I was very much surprised by this absolute diddy of a candle. I'm sure some sort of news is coming from this. Some sort of news, something. For such a reversal. Oh, sorry. DXY lined up, right? That's the story. But what I know is, right, you want to be careful when trading up to these highs, right? These highs bring strong selling pressure, which may explain the bullish reaction on EU in this bearish candle on the dollar. Now, although we've not took out the high, we have tapped into the wick of the candle, this zone, whatever you want to call it. We've tapped into it, and it's caused a big reaction down. Now, what I should have done was, knowing this, had an alert set, and once that alert's hit into here, I should have took partials, limit, basically reduce risk. I mean, what time did we tap in? At 10 a.m. I mean, at 10 we get a big bearish down. Oh yeah, and then at 10 we get a big rally up, and then the reversal comes at 8:15. The reversal here should come at 8:15. Yep, bullish, bearish. So that could explain partly the big sell-off. Annoying, a little bit annoying, but like I said, I'm not too fussed, and I do still think, like I've said, the wick doesn't count. Obviously, we know the wicks don't count as a breaker structure, but it also doesn't count as like a lower low because it's not closed below the low. And then obviously I put therefore prices like the continue higher to target the Asia highs, which failed to push a lower low. That's what I thought anyway. It's not too deep, no point overthinking one trade, but main points is to take is the trade management. Now, I do want to dabble in my risk because I do risk high, but I don't think it bothers me too much. I just think me closing out the trade because I changed my mind, like I'm not doing that no more. If I enter, then that's it. Is what it is. Like this one. So, got that down. But yeah, that's it.